What's up, Erica? Dark Truth. What's happening? Okay. Hope everybody's doing all right. We got enough to go on and get started. I was just thinking, peace cosmic vibe. I was just thinking, about this whole thing about the term occultism, and been talking to some of my compatriots about, what is it and so forth. And I've been thinking about some of these conversations some of y'all may have enjoyed, with my with my mama getting on camera and just being herself. Um, but one thing that she always stressed and my old man stressed was making stuff simple. You know, making it simple. And you hear how my mother talks. She that's pretty much the mo for her conversation. She wants to make it plain and make sure you understand where she's coming from. No beating around the bush. So if we address that term called occult, and this ain't supposed to be deep, it's just, as my mama would say, some common sense. I was just thinking about how some of the old school cats used to be, you see growing up. All the players would come through the barbershop on Saturday. Players get there early, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and they schedule. That's a dedicated customer at that time. Everybody knows this particular dude. He gets his hair cut. Our best barber in the city was Miss Georgia McAveen, and she had a rhythmic way of cutting your hair. She would her rhythm was tap 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 tap. She would take her clippers and pop pop, and take the comb, comb. Take the clippers and hit 2 times, take the comb, tap tap, and it's hard to stay awake in that chair when Miss Georgia cutting your hair. It was a going to Georgia McAveen to get your hair cut was a space trip. It was a trip on the mothership, because she gonna put you out, and then you gonna wake up. Now look at the magic of this shit. She gonna put you to sleep, and then you gonna wake up and look at yourself like, damn. And you know how she gonna wake you up? With that hot ass alcohol on your face. Georgia McAveen, a true goddess. True goddess. So if you need to get some shit in order, think about maybe a barber or a hairstylist of yours who maybe has transitioned, because the bad ones, they get your ass in order. You come in there in chaos. So I don't know why. Oh yeah, I brought up the players. Players always had a way that they moved, that they weren't trying to advertise everything they do. You know, everybody know this particular cat might run numbers, but he don't drive down the street with a sign on his car say, "I'm the racket man." I sell. We got a term we call it where I'm from. I sell the bolita. Bolita is what we call the numbers game. Bolita. He ain't drive around with all of that on his vehicle. You know, alerting everybody. And I was just laughing with somebody the other day just about how when I was when I was young or younger, what the hell am I talking about? I lost my train of thought for a minute. When I was younger, I used to wear like the big Ankh chains and all that. And let me preface this and say, I'm not saying this shit to clown nobody. This is me just sharing my own experience. Wherever you at in your journey, it don't matter. Who gives a shit what I say? It don't matter. But I'm just sharing my own experience. How I used to be so fanatical, like if I left the house and left my Ankh chain, the ones with the cheap ones with the wood beads and the wooden Ankh. I had I was literally living out the whole thing of false idols. Don't worship false idols. Because I had put in my mind that the Ankh had the power. So if I left my Ankh at home, I'm pissed. Turn this mug around. I'm going back to get my Ankh. And then one day it broke. It was something spiritual, I know. It broke. And I was like, man, I'm not trying to get a little necklace fixed. And I ain't about to go and buy me no replacement. I was just like, why am I wearing this? Oh, because I want everybody to know that I'm deep. I was starting to grow my dreadlocks and, so I've got to, I've got to look as deep as I can look because I need you to know that I'm deep. So I'm so glad that came around with, that they broke. The beads broke off and I just stopped wearing the doggone chain. And from that moment on, I started to transition more of a to be more of an introspective, hide in plain sight type of person. Although it's hard for me to hide as far as physically, I always, I ain't the one who can go and just blend in, and it never happens that way. But I mean, as far as I'm never gonna be loud, I'm never gonna be boisterous. I'm never gonna be jockeying for attention. It just ain't my style. Um, but it also means too, I don't need to go out and advertise that, hey, I may know something, you know. I don't need to announce it. So that means when you don't have to announce anymore, something is starting to become hidden inside of you. Or let me backtrack. It's not becoming, it's already hidden inside of you. It's already there, but your focus is starting to shift more inwardly. That's what I'm trying to say. So that is what was starting with me when all that little jazz happened. But what we call this whole inward focus bears the name occult. And we can break that word down a million different ways. But we all have an idea. All we got to say is hidden. Hidden. How can we take that concept and make it very simply apply in our lives? Here's an example. We find replete throughout occultism the reference to rituals. Rituals. Okay? A ritual is an arrangement. All right? If you want to do an occult ritual for any aspect of your life, you know what you need to do? This is how simple it is. You need to focus on, identify what the issue is, and you just need to sit down and develop a habitual or a habit that you will do differently from whatever you're doing now repeatedly. Let me say it again. A ritual is an arrangement. So if you're in a particular spot right now, it's because through some type of mechanism you have arranged it. So then you go back and say, well, if I have arranged this, then let me identify what my uh, habitual tendencies have been. Okay? And if I want to change that, then okay, I'm gonna create me this little new habit right here. Let me give you an example. If your life is out of order and you want some more control, study your habits. Here's a quick magical hack right here. Do you get up every morning and don't make your bed? Seriously. Do you normally get up without making your bed? Do you leave your house and then come back home and your bed looks the same way it did when you left or when you woke up, meaning you didn't make it? That is a very simple habit that you can incorporate, and it's a, you know what it is? It's a breakthrough. See, we always use the word breakthrough. Breakthrough. Well, for something to break through, something's got to break. When you break it, you're then making space. Just think of this. This is functional. This is broken. I just created space for something to move now. Okay? So if I need a breakthrough, then I need to break something. So if my habit is to get up and not make my bed, I'm going to force myself now to start making my bed before I leave the house. And in doing that, I'm going to match that new habit with the intent that I am changing my situation through, if nothing else, this one little gesture that I make that's extra. I'm going to make my bed up every morning religiously. I'm going to put myself on a regimen. Why do you think you're given a regimen when you go in the military, or even if you play sports? You're given a regimen. This is how we're going to warm up every day before practice. This is how we're going to warm up every game. We're going to do these pre-game warm-ups, because by doing those repetitive activities over and over, then it gets ingrained, and you don't have to think about it. It's now ingrained in your subconscious. So that now when you get those pads on and you step on the field, and once that whistle blows, you're like Pavlov's dog. You're trained, run over to where you're supposed to get in your position and start warming up for practice. That's why they do repetitive, because it needs to build a baseline. So by you now just making up your bed, if you're a person who never made up your bed, you are establishing a new pattern. And if things ain't going right, obviously you need to create a new pattern. It's not necessarily you got to always do these big, gigantic tasks like, well, I need to, make sure my 78th chakra is aligned with my Tigris Kundalini. Maybe, the route to doing some of those things, it's just tidying up the little things around you. That would be what we would call epigenetics. See, epigenetics is saying that the genes don't reign supreme, the environment around the genes. So if I'm trying to do all this stuff that sounds good, like I want to whatever, line up whatever, things that sound super spiritual, I can activate those things by doing these little mundane things that we think is so inconsequential now that we're so deep and conscious. Just making up your bed, you know, fold your drawers, you know, um, making little systems up for yourself, because chaos has its place, but at a certain time that chaos got to be put in some type of order. If anything just completely goes one way or another, we got a problem. We got imbalance. So chaos does need some order. Now, what does all this have to do with hidden things? Learn how to hide and so forth. That right there did not have any sign on it. It didn't have any neon lights flashing and say, hey, look at me. What it was is just something, an agreement that you made with yourself, that you're going to change some things. You're going to do something different. You're going to get outside of your comfort zone, out of your box. By you making that commitment to yourself, you then are breaking the chains of something that had you stuck in whatever position you've been in. Now, that don't mean like you're going to do this and the next morning you're going to get up and Santa Claus brought you gumdrops and a model car set. That's not what it's saying. It's saying that it's like, before you bake a cake, you got to get your batter right. You got to, how many eggs you're going to need, how much milk, baking powder, and flour, and all these other ingredients. Let me get all this stuff together and let me start making putting my dry ingredients together. Now let me add in my wet ingredients. So you're putting down a foundation for where you're going. How do I know? Because I've seen it happen. And me and my grandmother's conversation this morning was humility. We talked about, my grandmama trying to get her on camera. She ain't going for it. She ain't going for it. On the way is I'm going to have to sneak and do it. And boy, if she find out I got that camera going, it's going to be Katie bar the dough. So, humility is actually an occult principle. To be humble is to understand what you are and who you are without the need to announce it. Being humble is the ability to know what and who you are without the constant need to announce it. And therefore, that means sometimes you have to be insulted, because people will insult you out of ignorance, assuming what you know or don't know, or where you at in your journey, making assumptions. And that's a perfect opportunity for you to read this person to write at and let them know, how vast you are in your understanding and in your quest for more knowledge, but you don't. Because the power, the light is so strong that you do it an injustice trying to talk about it. It's that strong. So it's the equivalent of being able to hold back on ejaculating. You're holding that light back. Holding that light back for something greater. That's a cult. You're having to go inside of yourself. When you refuse to do things a certain way because it's popular, because you're going to cultivate your light by the means that were given to you and that you were instructed to do it by. And how do you know you're instructed? Because it's whatever your natural inclination is, that's what your natural instructions are. That's what they are. So if you choose to do things a certain, however, good or bad, up or whatever, however you want to, that's what your natural inclination is. That's just who you are. So occult is humility. It is also having the confidence just to sit down quietly with yourself and develop your own strategy. Your own strategy. And have the confidence that you're going to see results in it. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And here's how you can really, really help yourself along and etch it into existence. When the preacher at the royal wedding, now let's get into the metaphysics. When the preacher at the royal wedding said, seal my heart, seal my arm. He's reading from the Song of Songs. I think it was the 6th chapter. No, it was the 8th chapter of the Song of Songs, or the Song of Solomon. Now, I just talked about Solomon and Sheba the other day. We just need to do a conversation just on that preacher. That was one of the most amazing rituals I ever seen. Say what you will or may. For them to put that effort, wow. I stayed up to 4 o'clock in the morning watching the recording on the BBC. Man, but anyway, what the hell? How did I get on that point? Because I brought up the preacher. Oh, Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon. In there, he quoted that, and it was from the 8th chapter. And he talked about putting a seal on my heart and a seal on my arm. And I'm like, man, now that's, what is that really saying? So what I did was I said, let me start with seal. I know seal is something like a covering, but I said, and there's something else I'm forgetting about it. Oh, big time, Sister Zeta. Seal means sign. I was like, oh, that makes sense, because Solomon bound 72 demons with his signet ring. All right, signet as in sign. So what does sign mean? Sign means to scratch, okay, or to open. So sign basically means the same thing as sex, because to scratch, you're scratching, opening something, piercing. That's what the word sex comes from. So sex from a purely biological standpoint, brings about, is the vehicle for procreation. All right. So if Solomon said, my heart, still on my heart, still on my arm. Okay. Seal means to write. To write. To write. To scratch. To sign. To write. If you created this image of what you want, right? You then, now you've created this image with your mind. Now, imagine this is the image, this is your mind. You need to get over here where this is actually reality. Okay? So right now you got 2 points. You read the book Holographic Universe, you'll see um, um, the reference to the triangulated reflection, where it's the source, the mirror, and then the image is projected on the screen. Or was it the source, the laser, and then the screen? Yeah, I think that's how. Either way, they triangulated these points to bring out a reality. So if I've got me, the source, here's the what I've created, I need a third point to triangulate it. That's where writing comes in. That's what you write. Now, what fits into this third triangulated point is your altar, is you writing something down, is you reciting a mantra, it is you eating a certain way. If you want to take your food intake and make that your magical tool, so be it. Your workout. But so what you're doing is, see, all you're doing is whatever, you got to put something into that third slot. And that third slot is effort. All these fall under effort. Okay? It takes effort to sit down and organize your mind and write down your thoughts and what do you need to do. You go in the grocery store, you looking to save more money. Who gonna save more money? The person who wrote their damn list out versus the person who going there like, I'm hungry. Oh, those cookies look good. Oh man, ramen noodles. I ain't had none of them since college. Let me get 10 of those. But the person who got the list is gonna manifest what they wanted, was to spend the least amount of money. That's super mundane, but you get the point. So those 3 points, your intention, and then whatever activity or focal point you can give yourself to, what that focal point does is it fortifies your confidence. You can look at your altar and say, I see, yeah, I know it's charged, and I know it's working in my favor. You know, I can look at this that I wrote down, and I'm going to say, okay, I have decreed that this is what's going to happen. I can put it away now. Or I created this sigil. Whatever, once you've done that, that's the third piece, and it has to be done with confidence. Confidence. And it more than likely needs not to be told to nobody. You know, public rituals just don't cut it. You just don't need to tell some stuff because, you know, you just don't. That leaves some innocence to it. That leaves it leaves its virginity. It's still pure because it's yours. But you do need to be creative. And you need to have confidence. And creative don't mean it's got to be elaborate. Creative means creative enough to think about being broke, being poor. You know, you can't be elaborately creative when you're poor. That's what me and my mom was talking about. The way we grew up, people think we had money, but we were poor. But we carried ourselves with pride, you know, but we were creative. We came up with we used to burn gloves. My mama would burn a fucking rabbit foot in a stove. She's a fire starter. That's why her name is Ra on the end. She's a fire starter. Master. You know, we heat the house up with wood. You know, my mom could get that fire going, put some kindling. Y'all probably don't know nothing about that. Some kindling, you know, that's little small splinters of wood. You put that in that because the fire catches fast. You get you some old treated wood, you know, and you get that fire kicked up hard. Then you close the valves off on your stove, or close them just about, and let it it's almost like letting some food simmer. Yeah, you know. And I'm thankful for those traits, because if times ever get back to where, you know, you got to live like that, I can say at least I got that aspect of survival. But creativity is what I'm saying. When you ain't got no money, you have to be creative. You got to be super creative. You know? You got to be Dollar Tree creative. I'm telling you what I know. Okay? And be confident. And don't tell nobody, one, because you don't want them to sully it. And two, you don't want to hear nobody's negative ass shit they got to say. Or negative ass attitude and energy. Don't let them know. Unless it's the people you actually who are, people who are on your level and y'all are working on something together, or as at least a mutual respect and something like that. But just out here, well, we're gonna go over here and everybody hops on one foot and we're gonna raise our kundalini and our elbow. That's like before the Super Bowl, going out in the press conference and say, well, we're gonna open first play. We're gonna come out with play action pass. We're gonna go to the tight end because we think that with our running game, they're gonna be super aggressive on stopping the run. So now you done told your game plan. Some stuff just needs to be, hey, you run out there on the field and kick an onside kick. First kick of the game, onside kick. You don't come out there and announce it. Hey, this might be a trick play. So that's being hidden. You gotta learn just to be hidden. Just be quiet. Be quiet. And take control of your life. Take control. If I could have talked to Jamal 4 years ago, even 3 years ago, I would have told him, I'm like, man, shut the fuck up and take control of your life. Stop thinking that it's something altruistic about lacking and not having. Being so insecure in your own being that you're thinking, well, the only way for me to really stay hungry like I need to is I need to be, around here eating potted meat and spam. I know some of y'all like, oh my God, he mentioned spam. Some of y'all might not know about that neither. Or no fried bologna sandwiches. Saturday morning fried bologna sandwiches. That's how I stopped eating mayonnaise. I used to eat so many of them sandwiches. Got up one morning, opened that jar up of mayonnaise. Could never eat that shit again. I don't eat no bologna no more neither, but those motherfuckers used to be hitting. Oh man. This is how I lose my train of thought. Well, that's it. In a nutshell. Have confidence in yourself. Be creative. And work your mojo. And even if the shit don't seem like it's working, sometimes you're gonna completely forget, and you're not even gonna realize that when it do start working. Because see, that's where sometimes frustration is good. Frustration, well, maybe not frustration, but something else to direct your attention to. Fried spam. You better believe it. Something to direct your attention to where you stop focusing on what it is you're trying to do. And I swear, you look up one day and you're like, damn, I did that. Or look at that, that shit really did work. So that now, the next time, you expect shit to work. You expect to go into Walmart with $2 motherfucking dollars and pay $1,300 worth of rent. Not once, not twice, but at least 20 times. And that ain't nothing to brag about. There's something to be thankful about. To be able to sit and talk about paying your rent with $2 is traumatic. You know, I used to have people that were doctors I go and train. I'm just sitting here wasting up all my cardio time. I used to have doctors that I would train, man, and people tell you all their business while you working with them. Oh, the house is paid for. You know, when I tithe, I take out the whole front row at my church. This is a doctor telling me this. Uh, got zero interest rate on her car when she went to go and get it, and blah 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 blah. Now, this is a two-income home, no children, and she tells me she's got to stop training. She couldn't afford $350 a month because her shifts had been cut back at the hospital she was at. Now, mind you, all this time, the daily life for me at this time and my family is, man, I can't even, I don't know how the fuck we survived. Me and my mama always sit and talk about that. Like back when when I was a child, she said, I don't know how we made it. And when I look back, I don't know of any other thing I can identify other than fucking miracles. Sometimes you are maneuvering reality consciously. That's what we've been talking about previously. You maneuvering shit, with your mind because you have your mind, your intent, and then you create your third point. That's how you're going to triangulate everything. But there are times when there's another type of magic that's working. And it's that old magic you learned about when you was in church or in whatever your little religion. Yeah, all that shit wasn't no bullshit. There is some shit called miracles. I'm not, like you say, some shit you just shouldn't tell. But some people I know privately, I've told some miraculous things uh, that have happened when I was, younger and crazy and just things. And you must have had some purpose all along. You must have had some purpose. That's a different type of magic. That's the equivalent of a wound. See, that wound encases you and protects you. There's water all around you. There's nutrients constantly being fed to you. It's dark, so you can develop. Well, I've come to learn that in your life, when you got a special light and you got something you're supposed to do, some people, it ain't their incarnation, you know what I'm saying, to do certain things. But if it's your incarnation to do these things, there's a divine grace and protection that rolls with you. And it's rolling with you based on you being who you are. You being who you are. Authentic. Real. Sincere. You will see people who will, like on Right On, C. Ray. I know you have. I know everybody on here that had them. So you could be spared for this moment. For now. All about now. It's all about now. But I had lost my train of thought. But then I'll go back and look at it and I'm like, how could you forget that? You was right there about to say it. How could you forget it, Jamal? you know. But either way, that's the spirit. I guess I had said enough. Um, that's gonna wrap it up. I got to get in here and um do a little bit of exercising, but just just daily exercise the art of thinking outside of the box ever so gradually, you know. I'm not advising anybody to run out and try to race uh, Toyota down the highway or challenge Delta to a flying contest. I'm not encouraging any of that, but use your common sense. Oh, I was talking about protection. Protection. Yeah. Two different types of magic. One where you are conscious and you in it, in the middle of it, but don't discount divine magic, divine miracles. And it's like in wrestling, you know, back in the day, the guy be about to get pinned. One, the ref be like, 1, 2, and then all of a sudden he get his hand up, and the guy, as soon as right before the ref hit the mat, the man stick his hand up. Everybody go crazy in the arena. They do that a couple of more times, and then all of a sudden he gets this this burst of energy, and he starts doing whatever his little signature I'm getting crunk move is. He might start doing his head, hitting his head or some shit, or hitting his chest, and the crowd goes crazy because they know what's coming. It's that type of shit. It's that type of shit. You know, when you are real, it's that type of shit. Motherfucker got you down on the mat. Like, oh man, I ain't got, like Arnold. I have nothing left. I have nothing left. Ow. And then before the 3 count comes, the leg comes up or the hand comes up. But when those things happen, it's for you to share with a very small number of people, if any. But it's just, more importantly, it's for you to know. To know that you're special and to know that you have purpose. Thus, heavy is the crown that you wear. Heavy is the crown. Because to know means you got to do. All right. It's Brother Jamal reminding y'all to stay down till you get up. And when you get up, stay down. mastersofthecosmos.com. Peace.